With that, let's meet the 8 candidates. Oh, one more thing. Be sure you speak into the microphone. In the last debate, there was some head turning, and when you do that, you can tell it gets a little louder. So don't look at me, look at Carl every time. Okay, so with that, let's meet the 8 candidates for the 3 open posts, each with a 4-year term. The top 3 vote getters in the election will claim those seats and hold them until 2023. So let's start on this end with the opening remarks, Mr. West.
Hello, my name is Brian West. I am a lifetime resident, I grew up in Savannah. I lived there my whole life. I've lived in Tybee for 9 years. I have a wife, 3 natural kids, and 3 adopted kids. And I'm a fan of Tybee and Tybee's beaches. I was here as a day tripper growing up as a kid, and I live here now because I love it here so much. I believe we have 2 seasons on Tybee, and we all know this. We have summer and we have the rest of the year. And I think we try to apply our ordinances based on what happens during the summer, and we end up punishing ourselves for things that go on in the summer that really shouldn't apply to the rest of us that live here all the time. So I would like to see us start to think about making ordinances that apply to some people in the summer and the rest of us the rest of the year.
End of the row to Mr. West. Tybee has done a great job of fortifying the beach, but the backside of the island, back riverside, is taking a beating from flooding. Is there a plan to reinforce the bulkheads or areas that are close to the tidal creeks to minimize these impacts?
I have heard that there is a plan to reinforce the bulkheads and reduce flooding in those areas. I've also heard that we're working with FEMA to help raise some of those homes to make them livable for those people that live in that area.
Do you want to continue that, or do you have some other ideas?
Absolutely continue that, yes.
Okay. Very good. Go to Mr. West. And as flooding on Highway 80 becomes more frequent, we will need to find ways to meet resident needs without requiring a trip off of the island. How would you gather information from residents about the highest priority on-island needs that will be required?
If you want to gather information from people, you survey them, ask them what their needs are, and determine what the needs are, get the data, and try and find ways to meet those needs. If there's no Highway 80, I guess we fly it in.
Boat it in, right?
Build a highway over the marsh.
Well, hopefully that's a long ways off. A little bit about short-term vacation rentals. What is your plan for more effective regulation and zoning of current and future short-term vacation rentals, as well as for the enforcement of violations?
Was that West?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I think we have, first of all, I'll offer a disclaimer. My wife and I do rent our house out during the summer. We have an apartment downstairs. We stay in the apartment while people are there. I think we have 2 types of short-term vacation rentals on Tybee, and those are the ones where the people are like us in our homes with, around where people are renting the houses, making sure that there really are 10 people there when they say 10, making sure if they bring a pet, it really is just one pet, making sure they don't make noise after hours. The other type of STVR we have are the people that do it for an investment, and they don't ever really come to the house. They don't have any say-so in what goes on as far as, noise, excessive numbers of people, consumption of resources, all those things. So I think we have to think about it, as those 2 types of STVRs that we have. I will say also that if it came up for a decision, I would recuse myself from voting on that topic because I have one.
Okay. Mr. Brown, short-term vacation rental managers and residents have reported that recycling has not been picked up in a consistent or timely manner. What role should City Council play to make sure that the services for which residents pay are actually being fulfilled?
Our recycling can never comes back to our house. I don't know what they're doing when they do. The trash goes okay. They pick it up and bring it back like they're supposed to. We always get somebody else's can, and it's usually a messier can than our can that drives me crazy. I like neat cans. But we, as a council, all we can do is sign a contract with the people that do the work. If they're not doing the work, then basically all we can do is find somebody else that will.
Very good. Mr. Joyce, single-use plastic. How would you make the city operations and decisions more transparent?
One of the things we can do, I think, is use our internet presence, our website, to help better communicate with people. I know Jason's Facebook page. Jason's really great about putting out on his Facebook page very current information on what's going on around the city with, Rex and the hurricane when that was here and things like that. But that's not a very formal, or it needs to be better than that. It needs to be better than, you have to subscribe to Jason to be able to see it. So maybe we need a blog on the website, or some type of way that people can log in and see their communications. Maybe even have it where they can register a phone number and get a ding on their phone whenever there's new information to share.
Mr. McNaughton, what is your personal code of ethics as it relates? Mr. West?
This goes back to my opening comments about the 2 seasons on Tybee. I personally don't think we should have dogs on the beach, but there are so many people that are so strongly opinionated about it that want to have it. Maybe it should go up for referendum. I'm not sure. But if it was considered, it should only be off-season. It should only be, like Labor Day to St. Patrick's Day or something like that.
Similar to what Hilton Head has on South Beach, right? Mr. Vetter? And Mr. West?
I would like to see more full-time families, more kids down here, more use of our school facilities, more recreational facilities for kids and for adults, a good bike path that we can ride on, and not have to stop every 2 blocks. More electric golf carts, fewer gasoline golf carts, a permanent water solution, more green power, middle school, someplace for our service industry to live. Right now, it's too expensive for them to live down here. The most important thing to me, though, is to reduce and possibly eliminate the number of drownings we see on the south end of the island. And putting up signs don't work. I mean, people don't look at signs. They go out there in the current anyway, and they drown in the current. And I would like to see, Baywatch out there, on jet skis where the tide changes. Get out there and holler at those people and tell them to get out of the water. How difficult can that be? Just put a couple of people out there, or maybe one, and there might be good-looking lifeguards. We can go sit down there and watch them.
Very good. That exhausts all.
I've talked to a lot of people since I started this process, and I've learned a lot about Tybee, and I've made a lot of new friends out there, and I've enjoyed meeting people. I think one of the funniest comments I've heard is someone said they thought I was too young to be up here. So I'll start out by saying that I'm 55 years old. Too old. Now I'm too old? Is that right? My wife and I operated a medical practice in the Savannah and surrounding markets for 28 years. It was West Rehab Services. We were very proud of that company. And I learned in that company to deal with people who had very different ideas about how things should be done. And I learned to work with those people and convince them to do it my way. I work with budgets, I work with meeting budgets, work with government agencies trying to get paid, work with government agencies trying to get rules changed that were more favorable for us. So that's my experience in business. I'm now a professor. We sold our business a year and a half ago, and now I have a doctorate in healthcare administration, and I teach at South University and their healthcare administration program. So I also have, I think, a good basis of book knowledge of how things should be done in an organization. On top of that, in my former neighborhood in town, we lived out in Forest Cove. It's 200 homes, and I was on board there 20 years.
I'm going to hand it over to Shirley here in just a second, but let me say, as a longtime journalist here in town and as an on-again, off-again Tybee resident, it's off again right now, I've seen a lot of Tybee politics over the years, and I'm very impressed with the level of earnestness of these candidates, and you all are very lucky to have these folks today. So.